It's amazing. People go to the grocery store and, you're trying to save some money here and there, but when they deal with their investments, which is typically a lot more money at stake, they have no clue what they're paying. And I'm not saying anybody works for free. Certainly we don't. But how do you determine if you're getting value if you don't know what you're paying?
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
As financial professionals, such as yourself, there are things that you wish everybody knew and understand. And explain how your job would be different if everybody understood these things. First of all, I know you wish everyone knew how to recognize the tricks that sometimes get played in financial marketing. You won't get any tricks with Silverman & Associates, but there are some that are out there from some rather unscrupulous folks.
Well, there's people that put themselves out there as professionals, and everybody's got an angle. But, as you alluded to, some people who are not really financial advisors or advisors, they're more financial salespeople. So they're not really focused on the advice side. They're more on the sales side. And we see it here. I mean, even on the radio, there's a firm that advertises quite a bit, and they're, talk about being fiduciaries when, in fact, all they're really doing is selling annuities. Mm-hmm. There's an estate planning firm that also is on the radio, and again, they're not even attorneys who, attorneys are the ones that draft estate planning documents. Again, their whole angle is to try and sell annuities, and they just have somebody in Phoenix that actually drafts the documents and a paralegal signs off on them. So and it's unfortunate that it's come to that. I'm not here to try to knock annuities. I do think they're oversold by people looking to sell those, and most people that do sell them are only selling annuities, and that's part of the problem. And that's why you really want to be with the fiduciary, not to toot my own horn, but we only get paid by our clients, and that's the big difference. And I am a certified financial planner professional as well, so it's really being independent and looking out for our clients' best interests, and that's really what it comes down to, not just trying to pick a product just to force down everybody's throat.
And, of course, when it comes to annuities, we don't want to put down all annuities. There are different kinds, and
sure,
the ones that cause the problems are the variable annuities, and a lot of people don't understand that that's what they have.
That's true. And a lot of people don't understand that. But even, again, if you only have one thing to sell, then you feel everybody's going to need that versus somebody that is both securities licensed and insurance licensed that can look at everything and tell you what's in your best interest and have, the whole gamut of things out there to help you come up with the best possible financial plan.
Well, Mark, I know that based on all our conversations you and I have had over the years, I know that you wish everybody knew what they're truly paying for their investments.
It's amazing. People go to the grocery store and, you're trying to save some money here and there, but when they deal with their investments, which is typically a lot more money at stake, they have no clue what they're paying. And I'm not saying anybody works for free. Certainly we don't. But how do you determine if you're getting value if you don't know what you're paying? Yeah. And part of our financial planning process is we'll look and try to determine the fees that you're paying, whether it's fee-based or commission-based or internal expenses, whatever it might be, and try to give you a ballpark as far as what you are paying. And most people, unfortunately, don't even know or even have a clue how close or what range of fees that they're paying.
I know that you've told me so many stories about people who came in to talk with you for the very first time, and they had no idea how much risk they had inside their portfolio.
Yeah, and risk is not always a bad word. I mean, you've got to take risk to get a return. You take no risk now. The problem is, if you're buying CDs or in money markets, yes, there's no risk, but the risk that you're facing is you are guaranteed to lose purchasing power, especially with inflation where it is. So it's understanding the risk that you're taking and which account you're taking and what's your comfort level and making sure that that risk is managed, and it's risk versus reward. The more risk you take, the more rewards you get, and vice versa. So it's understanding that and where you are in the life cycle. Are you still working? Are you, close to retirement? Are you in retirement? And understanding those and having the right balance. In my opinion, everybody should have some amount of risk in their portfolio. That's the only way that you're going to keep pace with inflation, especially where interest rates are right now. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
You're listening to Saving with Silverman with Mark Silverman, Silverman & Associates, the home of the true wealth financial life planning process. And, of course, Mark Silverman can help you put together a plan and help you through the process. All you got to do is call or text 520-333-7601 and get that complimentary 20-minute introductory call. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes here. Mark, I know that you wish everybody knew how to check an advisor's credentials, because there are a lot of folks out there handing out advice and trying to get business out of clients, to handle their money.
It's true, and we talked about this earlier in the segment. But everybody calls themselves financial advisors. Heck, the person selling you your homeowner's insurance now and auto insurance can call themselves a financial advisor. So the term is used very loosely, but there's only one CFP, Certified Financial Planner Professional. So you can go to their site and see which advisors here locally are. If you're currently working with someone, see if they are. And I always tell people, if you're working with someone, ask them if they're a CFP. If they're not, ask them why not. Anybody that takes their business seriously, which you should if you're working with someone, should either be working towards it or already have it, unless they're close to retirement. And that way they've been vetted and they have all the training in all the different areas, not just investments but other areas as well. But you can go to Broker Check too and see if there's been complaints or anything else like that. Where I would say is people that are just selling or that are insurance only, that are just selling annuities, we're going back to that annuity thing again, they're not going to be securities licensed, and unfortunately there's no way to really check on them, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way the industry is. It's kind of the Wild West when it comes to insurance licensing.
I just get this image of people out there with six-shooters,
right,
facing off in the street.
Yeah, there's not a lot of discretion over these people. I mean, basically, if they've done something illegal, then they go after them, but nobody comes in like securities license that you have to follow certain protocols and you get checked on occasionally, that sort of thing. Yeah. With insurance, there's if there's no issues or they don't hear anything, then they're not doing anything about it.
Just one more thing I wanted to mention here about folks who come in and maybe have that first conversation with you, Mark. I know that you wish everybody understood the tax implications of their investment choice, and that is future taxes. I mean, that's a very important thing of what you ought to be planning for.
Well, it's so overlooked because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's how much money you make after fees and taxes. Yeah. So if you're not taking fees in, which we discussed, and now we're discussing taxes, you need to understand that. I'm not saying tax avoidance. I'm talking about tax minimization strategies. Which account, once you're in retirement, should you be drawing from? Should you take from a Roth, a traditional IRA, your taxable account? All these things need to be taken in consideration, and it just depends on your situation and what kind of income you have coming in, pensions, etc., to understand that. And so it's having a plan and being proactive, doing what's called tax planning, which is what we do here in the office, and saying, okay, maybe it makes sense to do some partial Roth conversions prior to age 72, and just looking at those sorts of things. And people say, well, I have a tax person I work with. Great. Some of those people work on these things, some people don't. So you need to have a CPA that's proactive, or at least an advisor that's proactive, that's going to be working with your CPA to make sure that we're doing the best job we can possible to help you pay as little taxes as possible legally. And the laws change each and every year. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's being proposed right now. Hopefully none of it, or very few things, get passed on it. Yeah. But we'll see where things are. It's a year-to-year thing. We have to look and see what changes and look for opportunities and being proactive. We're going to pay taxes one way or the other.
Yeah, and we do want to pay our fair share. You just don't want to pay more than you have to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes down to. And if you don't understand it, and which maybe you don't because you're not a CPA, you're not a CFP. That's why you need to be working with these people who can look at all these things and looking at your situation and figuring out what opportunities there are to pay less taxes.
Mark, when you talk about the word taxes, I mean, that is a real buzzword for a lot of folks out there. And I just have a feeling that a lot of ears perked up when we started talking about, being tax efficient down the road. And a lot of those folks may be waiting to make that phone call to your office. What do they need to prepare before they make that call?
The first call is an introductory call. So it's a 15 to 20-minute discussion. We'll obviously talk about your concerns and the reason why you called. You might have some things that are pressing. that you want answered, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. I'm happy to go into how we work with clients, what we do with clients, and that sort of thing, our philosophy. A lot of this stuff can be on the website, which I'll have you give out the website. There's a lot of videos and information that we provide on there as well.
Sure.
But happy to answer any questions that people may have. But it's really an introductory call to figure out if we're a good fit for one another, if we're on the same page. If we are, we'll talk about what the next steps are. If we're not, I still try to provide help to anybody that does reach out. So I'll point you in the right direction, some things that you may be doing to get in a better financial place. So, but it's all about reaching out first. Nothing happens if you just procrastinate, which, most of us do.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.